Hakadosh Boker or Masechet Sotah Daf Lamed Amud Aleph 38:1. We were just speaking about the entire concept of how do we make, whether it's going to be a shlishi, which is coming mikoach hasheni, that we said the sheni gufe is asur bechulin, right? Enodin she oser revi'i b'kodesh, right? And now we're going to push that off, which means that we're talking about when you have a ma'achal, which is a shlishi, which was mitameh from a sheni, that we say that the chulin itself can be sheni, okay? Because sheni is the maximum by chulin. So obviously it would make a shlishi, right? Wouldn't it be that it's going to make a revi in kodesh? So says the Gemara, this is where we're starting today. If you're going to tell me now, mishum dika lemifrach, that you could ask the following question on the kal vachomer. What's the question? Ma litvul yom sheken avatuma. Atvul yom is miuchad in the fact that it's coming from an avatuma, which means before he did tevilah, he was an avatuma. But an ochel sheni, that was always a sheni, it's not more than that, there's a big difference. Meaning, you have a human being, right, that he had tum'ah. He himself is an avatuma. And therefore, if he himself is an avatuma, right, so therefore it has nothing to do with sheni, which is a food, ha'itine, right, mechusa kippurim. Rabbi Yossi himself, he's learning that a shlishi can make a revi'i and a kodesh from a kal vachomer from mechusa kippurim. That also is an avatuma. And he didn't ask this question on the kal vachomer, even though this in itself you could ask on the kal vachomer. Why not? Because Rabbi Yosef holds that it's not considered a question, because he holds that even though tumato betchila was an avatuma, nevertheless after he did tevilah in the mikveh, right, which that's for doing this, so therefore what it's not fitting anymore to eat truma, right? But he's not an avatuma anymore, the mekorit. So it comes out of the ta'ana, right, that he's saying over here, right? Why is it that Rabbi Yosef didn't learn from a kal vachomer, from ma'achal that became tameh from a tvul yom? It's because he holds, like chachamim, that they say that the ochel in itself cannot make a revi in kodesh. So therefore, again, you have a question. Tam berebi, I don't know what the reasoning is, because tshuvato betzido. So Amar Ravasi Amar Rav, says Ravasi in the name of Rav. The Amnila, and some people say it's Amar Rabba ben Asi, Amar Rav. Some people say it's Rabba bar Asi in the name of Rav. Rabbi Meir v'Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yoshua v'Rabbi Lazar, right? V'Rabbi Eliezer, kulu sfira lehu, de'en sheni oseh shlishi bechulin. All these rabbis, you see all this group of rabbis, all these rabbis hold, whether it's Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Eliezer, they all hold that a sheni cannot make shlishi in chulin. Yeah, you guys have it, by the way, in the bottom. If you look in the bottom, right, you have a sikum. Everyone sees in the footnotes, you have a sikum, right? The dergot tumah. You have adam vekelim, right? A human being in utensils, nitmaim rak al yedei avatuma. And therefore, the dergat tumatam is not going to be less than a rishon. Meaning, a human being can never be a sheni. The maximum he could be is a rishon. The same halacha applies to kelim as well. Now, the different sugya tumah, right, is going to be in Vayikra. There it's going to be spoken about. But again, adam vekelim maximum a rishon. Machle chulin. Chulin could be maximum a sheni. That they learn from the pasuk when it says that a sheretz falls into the avir of the kli cheres. Kol asher betocho nitma. Since a sheretz is an avatuma, he makes the kli into a rishon, and the kli makes the ochel into a sheni. So you see from here that the maximum that ochel could become, regular ochel, is a sheni. Truma can become a shlishi. That they learn it from a kal vachomer from tvul yom, which is truma tmeah. Even in the dergat shlishi, you're not allowed to eat. So therefore, since they learn it from tvul yom, maximum by truma is shlishi. Kodesh can become a revi'i. This they learn from kal vachomer from mechusa kippurim. Kodesh tameh, even in the dergat revi'i, is going to be asur ba'achila. Now we're going to talk about the dargot of tahara. We know there's a concept of tvul yom. When it's tvul yom, a person that was tameh, right, until the nighttime, he cannot come, right, and he has to do tevilah. And once he's going to do tevilah, right, then he could wait until nighttime. Once he waits until nighttime, he's allowed to come and he's allowed to eat, right, from the truma or from whatever it is that he wants to eat. Mechusa kippurim is the night after the tevilah until he brings the korban. So he's fitting to eat and to touch truma, but he cannot eat kodesh. That means one more time. At tvul yom, for example, somebody's shechvat zera. Right? It doesn't have to be for an avira. He went with his wife. He's shechvat zera. He does tvul yom. What does he do? He does mikveh in the morning, but he cannot eat truma until nighttime. Herev shemesh. He waits until nighttime. Nighttime, he's allowed to eat truma. He's allowed to touch truma. But even though he's allowed to eat and touch truma, he's not allowed to eat kodshim. When is he allowed to eat kodshim? Kodshim are the korbanot. So when can he eat kodshim? Until the next morning when he's going to bring the kapara, which is going to be a korban. That's called mechusar kippurim. He's lacking atonement. Okay? And then you have machlokot that we're going to say in a few minutes. Yeah? 1 second. So now he comes and he says like this. We're talking about now, right, when the Gemara is going to explain everything that we just mentioned until now, and the Gemara is going to say it like this. We just mentioned about Rabbi Meir. So let's speak about Rabbi Meir. We said Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Lazar, and Rabbi Eliezer, all of them hold and Sheni Oseh Shlishi Bechulin. Okay, so a Sheni cannot make it into a Shlishi in Chulin. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Meir Ditran, Rabbi Meir, we learned it in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Kol ha'ta'un biyat mayim midivrei sofrim, right? Anything which is going to be tahor min Torah. But the rabbis were the ones that say that you have to put it into water, which means that's what it means. Ta'un biyat mayim. You need water, but only midivrei sofrim, only from the words of the rabbis, not from the min Torah, which means min Torah you don't need anything. Okay, it's only with Rabbanan they need tevilah b'mikveh or things like that. And there was actually 18 things that the rabbis made a decree, right, that they have to actually come and they have to do tevilah min Torah. Metameh et kodesh. It's going to come and it's going to be metameh et kodesh, which means if you touch kodesh, it's going to be tameh, that it could also actually bring the tum'ah to other things as well, which means if this kodesh becomes a shlishi, it can make a revi'i. Because remember, if it's already a revi'i, the buck stops here. There's no such thing as a chamishi. So it means that if you touched, right, if you came and you were only with Rabbanan, but you touched this kodesh, and you made this kodesh into a shlishi, it's going to make it into a revi'i, uposelet truma, and it makes the truma pasul, not tameh, pasul. What's the difference between pasul and tameh? Everyone remembers? What's the difference between pasul and tameh? It stops. Meaning pasul means it's the last stop. So pasul means truma can only become a shlishi. So therefore, if you just touch the truma from mitzad truma, it's last, but you cannot go any further, right? So therefore, that's why it says pasul. Doesn't say metameh. Metameh means it continues going, right? It could be metameh other things. Pasul means it stops. So it says over here, uposelet truma, which means that truma, which is going to touch it, is going to be considered, which is already becomes a shlishi, is not tameh, but rather psula. Why? But it itself, right, is still going to be a sur b'achila, just like trumat me'ah. But it cannot make any other truma into a revi, because the revi is already too much for truma. Only in kodshim. Mutar b'chulin maaser. And the sheni is going to be mutar for chulin and maaser sheni. Right? Now why? Because we already said that a chulin can only become maximum a sheni. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. V'chachamim omrim v'chachamim say, v'chachamim osrim b'maaser. Chachamim say, no, you're only mutar in chulin, but you're not allowed in maaser sheni. That means they agree that it's not going to be, and that's what it says, that even Chachamim are agree that it's not osrim maaser sheni magam. And maaser sheni that touches it is going to be mutar b'achila, because it's not going to be nituma b'magam. Which means Rabbi Meir comes and he says, and even they're arguing on them, they hold that sheni does not make a shlishi in chulin. Meaning chulin, the maximum, is a sheni. Okay, until here we're clear. Rabbi Yosef. According to Shitat Rabbi Yosef, right? Hadeamra, that's what we said above. We said the entire concept of the Kal V'chomer. Team 8, was if you're going to tell me now that a sheni becomes a shlishi, like Rabbi Akiva, like the Revi b'truma, v'chamishi b'kodesh. So make a Revi and truma, chamishi b'kodesh, which means like this. We're always going up in levels. Chulin is a sheni. Adam bekelim is rishon. Ochel, which is regular ochel, right? Chulin, sheni. Truma, shlishi. Kodesh, revi. If you now tell me that you could make chulin into shlishi, what has to be truma? Sure. Revi. And what is kodesh? Chamishi. You didn't say that. Because you're always going up. And we don't say that. We don't say that there's such a thing as chamishi bekodesh. Next one, Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua, the time we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, "Ha'ochel ochel rishon rishon, sheni sheni, shlishi shlishi." If you come and you eat a rishon, right, you become a rishon, and therefore you make the sheni magal. If you're going to eat a sheni, you become a sheni, meaning bekitzu, you are what you eat. Right? Let's just say it in a very nice way. Right? You are what you eat. You ate a rishon, you become a rishon. You ate a sheni, you become a sheni. And then you continue going like the shlishi, or you continue the next one, right? Shlishi, and then you make a revi. Rabbi Yoshua says, no. Ha'ochel rishon, if you eat a rishon, or you eat ochel sheni, you become a sheni. Ha'ochel shlishi, if you eat a shlishi, you're doing a sheni bekodesh, which means your body becomes a sheni to do a tum'ah by kodesh, which makes it a shlishi, and then this kodesh could make a revi. But it is not the en sheni betruma, but it does not become a sheni to do with being posel truma. And there's actually a proof to this. Right? So he says, which are we talking about now? That ma'achal of chulin you find by shlishi v'truma. The chulin shnasu al tarat truma, which means this. Regular chulin, it only becomes a sheni. It cannot become a shlishi. But there's such a thing as chulin shnasu al tarat truma, which means you are mekabel ala tzmecha that keilu, that even though this is chulin, right? There's a big difference in chulin and truma, right? Chulin, right? You could eat because you're a zar. Truma could only be eaten by a kohen, but you could still eat the chulin al taharat truma. Taharat truma means that I'm eating it still on the same level of truma. It does not become truma because truma is only eaten by kohanim. I'm not a kohen, right? And if I would eat truma, I'm chayav mita b'dei shamayim, right? But there's such a thing that you could come and you could accept upon yourself to eat with a certain level of tahara, with a higher level. And therefore, that's called chulin shenasu al taharat truma. And the fact that you're going to come and you're going to eat on chulin, right, shenasu al taharat truma, many times they do it, for example, even many times kohanim. A kohen does not have to eat the chulin, right, with the entire concept of the tahara. But here, as long as it's tahor, it doesn't make him tamen, it's going to disqualify the truma. But for example, he could eat the chulin and tahara truma because he just wants to say, you know, 1 second, he's going to start making differentiations between truma, chulin, everything I'm eating it on this level. So that way I don't ever come into making mistakes or I'm always, this is called chulin shenasu al taharat truma. So says the Gemara, al taharat truma in al taharat kodesh lo. So what's saying? Why does it only exist that you could eat something on taharat truma and not on taharat kodesh? Why don't I say also that there's such a thing as taharat kodesh? You're also going up. Alma CC from here. Kasavar, he holds en sheni oseh shlishi b'chulin. He cannot make a shlishi b'chulin, which means like this. That means regular chulin do not actually become the shlishi, right? Because if not, you could also go up a higher level, do it by kodesh. Says no. The reason why is because this hanaga, right, is very, very far off. The rabbis never made it that you could make it into a kodesh. They only said you want to do it, you could do it until maximum the truma, but you can never go until the kodesh. Meaning, if you're already saying, I want to take this regular piece of bread and I want to eat it b'kedushav tahara, right? Right? I want to eat it mamash on the highest. So then already go for the kodesh. Why am I going only for the truma? He says no. The rabbis only instituted the maximum it could go for the tahara, right? Which is the truma, right? Al taharat truma, but not on taharat kodesh. That's what the Gemara is actually coming and saying. So that was the shita of Rabbi Yehoshua. Okay. The next shita was Bilazar. Bilazar, the time was learned in a Braita. The Braita says, Bilazar Omer, Bilazar says, Shloshtan Shavim, Kodesh, Chulin, and Truma, all three of them, those are the three, right? You've got Kodesh, Truma, and Chulin, you're going downwards in the thing, right? Or Shavim, Rishon, Sheba Kodesh, Sheba Chulin, Sheba Truma, Metamesh 9, Uposel Echad, right? So, which means like this. When we are talking about right now, that when you have a Rishon Letuma, right? A Rishon Betuma. It could be whether it's an Adam or Kelim, which is Rishon Betuma, right? The Kodesh, right, is exactly the same thing, and also the Chulin, and also the Truma, they're all three of them, is Mitameh Shnaim, which means it's going to be Mitameh something else to become a Shani, right, or a Shlishi, okay? Uposel Echad, and it's going to make only one afterwards, which is the Kodesh. Umitameh Echad, going to be Mitameh, right, one of them to be a Shani, right? Uposel Echad, and it's going to make something else, Pasul, which is Truma. Uposel echad bechulin. It's going to be posel, right? Echad bechulin, only one in chulin to become a sheni. Okay, so you see from here that Bilazar holds that there's no shlishi in chulin, because by chulin he said it's only going to make the chulin to a sheni. By the truma, he says it can make it into a shlishi, and by kodesh he said it can make it into a revi, right? But right, not anything else. Okay, fine. Last one, which is going to be Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, the Tzram was learned to the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer says, Chala, when we're talking about Chala, nitelet mina teora ala tmeah. When you have Chala, you could take challah from a dough which is tahor on a dough which is going to be tmeah. Ketzad. How is that? How do you do that? It's very simple. Shte isot. You've got two doughs, two separate doughs. Achat teorah v'achat tmeah. One of them is tahor, one of them is tameh. Notel kedei challah. You're going to take the shiur of challah, okay, meisa shelo ruma chalata, from the dough that it wasn't taken off. V'noten pachot mikabetza be'emtza. And then what you do is that you're going to put it beside the tmeah without it touching. Because remember, once it touches it, it becomes tameh as well. And now you're going to put another chaticha, which is less than a kabetza, be'emtza, between the tmeah and the other one, right? The one kedei shiur challah that you already, in order to connect them. Kedei litol mina mukaf, in order to take off from something which is going to be mina mukaf. And then you separate it and you call it challah on the first one that you separated. So it comes out that you just took off now challah tehora for the teme'ah as well. And you did the chiyuv of challah, right? And you did it from the mukaf min ha'isa. Okay? What exactly are we referring to when we're talking about from the mukaf? The middle piece is touching the isa teme'ah, right? And this is the piece which is going to be miwad to become challah, is mitzaref ki'ilu, that they're all touching each other. And therefore it's going to be considered, right, that you're being mafrish isat me'ah min mukaf, which means like this. If I have the isat teorah touching the isat me'ah, everything becomes tameh. I can't do that. So what do? I come and I separate, right, challah. I separate challah from the isat teorah, and I put it here. Then I'm going to come and I'm going to separate another piece, which is less kabetza, and I'm going to do that it connects, which means you have the challah, you have the less than a kabetza, and then this less than a kabetza is touching the tmeah. By now it being like this, that it's forming all together, right? I'm able to, it's all considered one connection. Once it's considered one connection, right? What happens is that the one connection that we're having over here, right, is going to come and it's going to come and it's going to become one form. Now, why do we say that you're specifically taking less than a kabetza? The reason why is because when the one, what's the connecting? You need a connection, right? What's the connecting? The connecting was less than a kabetza. Food which is less than a kabetza only can be mikabel tum'ah, but it cannot be mitameh, something else. So it comes out that even though that connecting piece becomes tameh, it's not mitameh, the other piece, which is the coming from the chalat tehora. Everyone understood? One more time. I've got chalat tehora, chalat tmeah. 1 second, right? One second. Let me explain one more time. Right? Chalat tehora, chalat tmeah. I want to take off from both. Right? Now, I want to take off chalat tehora from the tmeah. Right? What am I going to do? So now I have to connect it. But how do I connect it? If I connect it, everything becomes tameh. I don't want everything to become tameh. So what you do is like this. You take off from challah on here, and I put it here. Then I'm going to come and I'm going to take off another piece, which is less than a kabetza.
Why the first one?
Because I need challah from the regular one, right? I take off challah. I take off another piece less than a kabetza. I connect them, and I connect that to the isat me'ah. Now, since it was less than a kabetza that I separated it, it becomes tameh, but it's not tameh the other chalat teorah. So now what do? I have a connection. Once you have a connection, if it's all connected, I could take all the challah together from the, meaning I could take from here to here. If they're not connected, I cannot take from one to another. But once they're connected, I could take all from here, because it's all connected. How do I make it connected? The only way to make it connected and not to be mitameh, this one is having the connector less than a kabetza, and once it's going to be less than a kabetza, it's not going to be mitameh. Now that we understood, then that's a kavanah mina mukaf. Mina mukaf is like something which is going to be the bridge over you. So now it says in Lamed Amud Bet 30b, Chachamim Osrim, Chachamim come and they say that it's going to be a sur. But Tanya, we learned, right? Kabetza. What does that mean? They come and they say that it's going to be the connecting piece could be even a kabetza. Savruha, they actually thought that they wanted to actually bring a proof. Idi v'idi, that both the Mishnah and the Braita were talking about Yisa Rishona, and right, and it's going to be Rishona letuma. And chulin and tvulin lechala lo kechala damu. Therefore, when you have chulin, which is like going to be like chala, it's not considered like mamasha. It's considered like chulin, which means that since the isa is a rishon, the chelek which is mechubar, which is connected, becomes a sheni, and since it's a kabetza, it has the power to make a shlishi. Now, even though according to the Braita, Rabbi Eliezer is matir lechaber afilu lidei chaticha, that it does have a kabetza, it's because otah chaticha is considered chulin until you call it chala. So if Rabbi Eliezer holds that a sheni cannot make it into a shlishi in chulin. Let's read one more time. Until you don't say the words harezo chala, it's chulin. So therefore, this isa is a rishon. It made this middle one into a sheni, right? But now 1 second. You want to now come, and even if it's going to be a kabetza, which means that it could continue the tum'ah, but the piece on the left side, which is chala, right, is still going to be, it's still not chala, because until you don't say the words arezo chala, so chala, so it's chulin. So you see from here that the sheni cannot make a shlishi in chulin, because it cannot make it into chulin until after you actually come and you say those words that it's going to become a chala, and then it's not chulin anymore. So says the Gemara, this is not the machlok between them. The more savar that one of them holds, en sheni oseh shlishi b'chulin, that a sheni cannot make shlishi b'chulin, and more savar one of them holds that the shlishi can make a sheni can make a shlishi in chulin, which means the machlok between them is going to be, can you make shlishi in chulin or not? And therefore, frashat chala in such a way is going to be a surah, because it could be that when the kohen is going to come and put the chala tmeah right in the middle, it's going to become tameh. So says the Gemara, that's not the machlok between them. Amar Rav Mari Bered Rav Kahana, says Rav Mari Bered Rav Kahana, it's not true. The Chuli Alma, according to everybody, meaning everybody holds, en sheni oseh shlishi b'chulin, which means that a sheni cannot make a shlishi in chulin. But here, the chulin and tvulin lechala kamipalgeh. Here we're talking about chulin, which you're obligated to take off chala. Meaning, we're not talking regular chulin. Regular chulin just means regular food. I've got food, regular food. You got food. Here, this is food which you have to remove chala from it. What is halacha from there? More savar, more holds, which is the chachamim, ki chaladam, that it's considered like chala. Because the fact that you have to take off chala from this food, it's already like chala. And if it's like chala, you can make it also a shlishi. More savar, but the other one, which is Rabbi Eliezer holds, lo ki chaladamu, that it's not going to be like chala, and therefore it cannot become a shlishi. That's going to be the first answer between them, which means one more time, we're retracting, we're going back to the original thought that we thought. Chulin can never become a shlishi. So then what's the machlok then between Rabbi Eliezer and Chachamim? Machlok between them is, this chulin that you have to take off chala, is that considered chala or is it considered chulin? According to Chachamim, since you have to remove chala from it, it's considered chala. According to the other shita, which is going to be, how do you call this? According to the Rabbi Eliezer, he holds no, that even though you have to take off chala from it, it's still considered chulin. You can answer another answer, second explanation in the machloka between them. According to everybody, chulin, which is going to be for like chala, is not like chala. Right? That means according to everybody, there's no, this is not chala. Right? And everybody also agrees that a sheni cannot make shlishi in chulin. Means there's no such thing as shlishi b'chulin. But over here, are you allowed to be gorem tum'ah to chulin in Eretz Yisrael or not? That's a machloket. Meaning like this: if you're in Chutz La'aretz and you're going to have tum'ah, okay, fine, no problem. You're in Eretz Yisrael. I have chulin. Can I now cause tum'ah to the chulin? Cause tum'ah to the chulin. Can I do that or not?
Why is it different between Israel and diaspora?
So, Rabbi Eliezer holds, mutar ligrom tum'at chulin shebe'eretz Yisrael. According to Rabbi Eliezer, he holds you're allowed to cause tum'ah to chulin in Eretz Yisrael in order to help taking the frashat truma or chala teora. Right, which means this. What was the purpose? It wasn't just Stama was making it tameh. I wanted to be mafrish from the truma or the chala and all those things from one to another. So therefore, the only way to do that was to make something tameh. So you're right. The middle, you remember the middle kabetzah, it made it was a connection. Okay, umor savar, but chachamim hold asur ligrom tumah lechulin shebe'eretz. You're not allowed to come and you're not allowed to cause right tumah to chulin right in Eretz Yisrael. So because of that, that's a machloke between them. Okay, next part, 2 dots. Bo vayom darash Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva came and he made also another drasha. Remember, we're talking about during the day when Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became the Rosh Yeshiva, right, the head, the Nasi, instead of Raman Gamliel. So Rabbi Akiva came and he made a few different drashot. And what did he say? He was talking about the gvulot of the Arei Levim. We're talking about the city boundaries of the city of the Levim. Remember that the cities of the Levim are also considered cities of refuge. The only difference though between those 42 cities and the other 6 cities is that the 6 cities of refuge, Miklat, whether they knew it was a city of refuge or not, it protects them. The 42 cities of Levim, only if they know that it's cities of Levim, then it counts as a city of refuge. If they don't know, they do not know. So it says now the Gemara as follows. What is a machloket between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Oziel and all these shitot? Because we're talking about how many of the actual midah, the different measurements. So he says like this: More savar, one of them holds tchumin is doraita, or more savar drabanan. What is the yisur of tchum of Shabbat? Is the yisur of tchum of Shabbat doraita or drabanan? Tchum of Shabbat is that you're not allowed to travel 2,000 amot outside of the city boundaries. What is that? Is that a din doraita or drabanan? So according to Rabbi Akiva, he holds tchumin is doraita. According to Rabbi Eliezer, right, the son of Yosef, it's drabanan. So now let's try to understand this. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita, right? He comes, it's also another machloket that we're going to come and bring down to do Shirat Hayam. Bo bayam darash Rabbi Akiva b'shah shalu Yisrael min hayam natru nehem lomar shira. So you know when Bnei Yisrael, they came out of the Kriyat Yamsuf, they wanted to say shira. The Ketzad amru shira. How did they say shira? Kegadol amakre ta'alel. It was like a gadol that he was reading the Alel. Menonim acharav l'sheprakim. So they were answering afterwards the sheprakim, which means Moshe Rabbeinu came and he said Ashira Lashem, and they answered Ashira Lashem. Moshe Rabbeinu said Kigoga, and they said Ashira Lashem. Right? You understand what it was? Meaning Moshe Rabbeinu says A, they answer the chorus. Right? He says B, chorus. C, chorus. That's the way that was going. No, it's a repetition. It's a deja vu. They're repeating exactly what he said. Moshe Rabbeinu said Ashira Lashem. They said Ashira Lashem. Moshe Rabbeinu said Kigoga, they said Kigoga, and that's how they did it. So there's a machloka between them. How did they sing the Shira by Yam Suf? Okay, machloket. Okay, is it like the Gedolim that are reading the Alel, or like a Katan that is reading the Alel? The Katan, obviously, he has to repeat because he doesn't know it. So he's repeating everything that you just say. Like a Tuki, right? He's a parrot. Right? You say A, B, B, C, C, D, D. But a Gadol, he understands a little bit more. So you could tell him. I say A, you say the chorus. I say B, chorus. Chorus is the song that everyone sings together, right? After each bite. Right? The Lechadodi, for example. Right? The Lechadodi is called, right? The chorus. Right? Rabbi Nechemia says, Kesofer הפורס על שמה בבית הכנסת, שהוא פותח תפילה ואין עונים אחריו. No, really, it's like a sofer, that he's doing the Shema in the Beit Knesset, that he starts and everyone answers afterwards, which means like this. When you're teaching children that are starting the Berachot of Kriyat Shema, right, before the Tzimur, and everyone is reading, right, together. So according to this Shita, right, it comes out that he's always in the Beit Knesset, and he's the Shliach Tzimur. So according to him, Moshe started the Shira, and everybody started singing together in the Shira. So according to them, it was sang by everybody. It wasn't like one. It was everybody all together, right? Like we started all together, everyone together, right? Or whatever it is that they're doing, right? Whichever one it is, when you do the all together. Okay? Yeah, you heard of a haki all together. Yeah? Fine. Then it says, okay, b'mai kami palge. What is the machloka between them exactly? Rabbi Akiva Savar, Rabbi Akiva holds, lemor. What does it mean when it says the words lemor? Vayomeru lemor, ashir el Hashem kigor. Lemor, amilta kamaita. When you say lemor, it means in the first thing. So it comes out when it says vayomeru lemor, it means only Moshe said the entire shira. But they just kept on saying ashir el Hashem. Ashir el Hashem, Ashir el Hashem, Ashir el Hashem, Ashir el Hashem. Okay, that was what happened, right? Like, for example, the kilo and chastos or things like that sometimes, like, we say one and then, and then they continue. Kilo chazor, kilo chazor, kilo chazor. Okay? Rabbi Lazar, beno shel Rabbi Yosef Galilei Savar, lemor akom minta minta. He says, no. When it says lemor, it wasn't just going on the Ashir el Hashem. Okay? But rather the lemor, right, was going on everything. What does it mean? Akom minta minta. On each thing. Nechemia Savar and Nechemia holds vayomeru lemor. Vayomeru is a plural. Everyone said it together. Lemor. So what is the lemor teaching you then? Lemor is that Moshe Rabbeinu started. The patach Moshe bereisha. Moshe Rabbeinu started first. Meaning Moshe Rabbeinu was the one that started. And once he started, everyone followed suit. Okay? Fine. Tanu Rabbanan, we're going to the Braita. Darash Rabbi Yosef Galilei comes and he says, Shalu Yisrael min hayam. When Bnei Yisrael came out from the Yam, they want to say Shira. How did they say Shira? Right? Whether we're talking about little child on the mother's lap, or even a tinok, which is feeding from its mother, once they saw the Shekhinah, the olal comes and picks up his neck, and the tinok takes his mouth out of the chest area that he was just feeding. And they say, this is our God, and we will send them. From the mouth of the Olim Yonkim, right? But how do we know that even the fetuses in the mother's wombs they said Shira? Shneimar says in Pasuk, Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph, B'Makelot Barechu Elokim Hashem Mimekor Yisrael. What does that mean? The Mekoro Shel Adam, which is Rechem Imo. A human being comes from the uterus of his mother. So he's coming from the Rechem of his mother. The Pasuk is saying, Shekshikalu Yisrael B'Yam, they said the bracha even through the Ubarim Shebemeimam. B'Makelot Barechu Elokim Hashem Mimekor Yisrael. From the Mekor of Israel, they're already coming, they're being Barechu et Elokim. So therefore, obviously, it comes out that even the Tinokot were coming and saying this. We're just going to finish until the two dots. Says the Gemara, V'halo chazi. One second, they can't see. If the fetuses cannot see, because they're in the mother's wombs, if they can't see the Shekhinah, how do they say Ze'eli v'aveo? Amar Rabbi Tanchum, says Rabbi Tanchum, Keres na'asa len kaspaklaria meira v'ra'u. It became see-through. Meaning, usually the mother has flesh, and therefore it's not see-through, it's not transparent. All of a sudden became transparent. It became like a, like a two-way, you were able to, like a mirror. Not a mirror, but like a glass, like a window. They were able to see straight through. And once they were able to see straight through, that's when they were able to come and bless, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu.